Washington has been debating how to regulate college athletes getting paid for their names, images, and likenesses. The SCORE Act, as it's known, is a bill that would codify NIL compensation for student athletes. The House was to vote on it Wednesday, but leadership canceled the vote, citing opposition like this from fellow Republicans.
We're trying to sort of bastardize this whole thing with a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. I don't know what we're doing, what the powers that we have here in engaging and interfering with states. But if we're going to take a big federal step because a federal court intervened, and we're going to intervene, well, then maybe we should fully intervene. Maybe we should fix the damn mess so that we don't have, 16 teams in the SEC and 17 teams in the ACC and 19 teams in the Big Ten and frigging Stanford and Berkeley on the West Coast in the Atlantic Coast Conference, all because of money.
Republican Congressman Tim Walberg of Michigan recently wrote an op-ed supporting the SCORE Act. He chairs the House Education and Workforce Committee, and Congressman Walberg joins me now. So I take it, Congressman, you're disappointed in the fact that the vote has been delayed?
Well, I guess you could say so, John. It's good to be with you. Nothing should move easily in Congress. That's how we're set. We ought to consider it, and this may be that juncture where we say, okay, let's talk a bit more. But we have to admit, even as my colleague Chip Roy said, it is broken, and we've seen that broken since 2021 when the NCAA took the reins off of transfer portals, NIL, et cetera. And now we have 30 separate states at least that are putting in their own provisions, and it just isn't working for most athletes, and it won't do anything but melt down if we don't attempt to fix it in some way. And I think the SCORE Act is not perfect, but it's a major step in saying we want student athletes to be treated as students first and foremost. We want to make sure that they come out of their college career, university career, with an education, with an understanding of finances, especially if they're going on in their academic or their athletic careers. We want them to have mental health care. We want them to have health care for any sustained injuries that go on. But we also want to make sure that all athletes, especially at the smaller schools, have an opportunity to compete. And we make sure that our Olympic sports are protected by having in a school, for instance, with football, like University of Michigan, a Big Ten school, that you have to have 16 separate athletic opportunities and teams, and in any other school you have at least 14 teams. So you take care of the Olympic sports, and you make sure that Title IX women's sports are protected as well. And I think this is a reality. I'd love to see us, John, go back to.
Well, the president is not a fan of what's going on. He posted this on Truth Social earlier today. He writes, college sports is in big trouble, just like I said it would be. A judge with no knowledge or experience ruled, and rather than fighting, the sports reps folded. Can't do that. The litany of issues that you just said are plaguing college sports, that's a long list. How do you fix it with just one bill?
Well, I think the one bill will go a long way because, indeed, it does a lot of what the president actually wants. It makes college athletes athletes. It says, yeah, your name, image, and likeness is important, but you're also not going to be employees. You're going to be students and athletes at the school. That's a good thing. That gives them better opportunity. In fact, the students, along with almost 100 organizations, colleges, universities, athletic departments, and student athlete associations have said this is the next best step to make sure that college athletics is not made whole, to move it back where I certainly like to see, where it was truly college athletics, amateur athletics, and not really some form of minor league in the college. But we are where we are.
Yeah.
And so this is an effort to say, you broke it, NCAA. Now you have to be part of fixing it. They've stepped up to the plate. The president is right that in the House versus NCAA court case, the judge stepped in, and it's not going to get better unless we fix it with some provisions that say student athletes are important, but their academics are important, their futures are important, and we ought to make sure that transfer portals aren't simply something that we can change teens anytime we want, but rather they give some certainty to the schools that when they recruit a player, for the most part, they can accept that that player will be loyal and stay at the institution.
I know that you've also been heavily involved in efforts to protect kids online. At least one Democrat in Congress has been critical of Republican efforts on that score. Listen to Kathy Castor, a Democrat of Florida.
These versions are a gift to the big tech companies, and they're a slap in the face to the parents, the experts, and the advocates, to bipartisan members of Congress who have worked long and hard on strong child protection bills to protect them from what's happening online. We should not put a ceiling on kids' protections at the state level or stifle the good work of the states or weaken knowledge standards that are critical to holding tech companies accountable.
Republicans have been accused of caving in to the tech companies. How do you see it?
Well, I haven't seen that, and Kathy is a good friend. In fact, she was my prime co-sponsor of the bill last term. But we have a reality that we have to get through two houses, and the most perfect bill we can put through is one that the president can sign and put into place. This is not given into tech companies, but we also understand, and I would hope by the end of the process that Representative Castor will agree as well, that you can't have 50 states meddling in the process if you are going to have a standard that protects kids by moving the standard. A 1998 law is what we're working with here. We're trying to move it up to the present age, understanding that kids are online and the major corporations of Meta, et cetera, understand that. And so a 13-year-old now, it's not enough to be protected. So we moved it to age 16. And we say that the students who engage in going online, big tech cannot follow them around and use apps to get into their faces and ultimately take, I think, a terrible situation and make it worse when you see right now, especially with schoolgirls, teenagers, the amount of suicide that has increased in the last years to 1 in 21 students are going to commit suicide. We don't want that to take place.
It's a terrible problem, and let's hope that you and others in Congress can come up with some legislation, pardon me, that'll fix it. Congressman Tim Walberg, thank you.
Thanks for your concern.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.